And we're live.
Yeah. I don't know if I still have this record or not because I haven't been following it for the last few years, but at least for a while, I had the most money ever won on a poker stream.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
How much?
I think it was 455,000.
That's a
that
good
number
is
so high. I asked
Jesus
poker
Christ.
guys this. We've had a couple on the show. Do you get like numb to huge amounts of money? Like it, easy come, easy go must sort of fuck with your idea of what things cost. If you can make $500,000 in one hand, then why isn't your house 30 million? Right? That's obviously 90 seconds worth of work. So, like,
because you can't consistently do it, right? This is just
not. Does it? I'm sorry, I cut you off. Does it morph your like concept of how hard it is to earn money, or do you have a pretty good averaging mind that takes this more realistically?
There's two different forms of poker. There's tournaments and there's cash. And I think typically speaking, so just to kind of talk about those formats, one of them, you sit down with dollars and you can leave whenever you want. Your chips represent dollars. And one of them is a tournament where everyone puts a buy-in in, and then the guy at the end gets the most of the money, or a lot of the money. In the cash game format, which has been more of my specialty over my career, it's hard for things to really go to your head because it's such a grind, right? Maybe you buy in for $1,000, you're hoping to win $100 at that table, right? So it takes years to build up, and then eventually you're playing $10,000 games or $100,000 games, and then you're hoping to win 500 or 1,000 or 2,000 or whatever. So you rarely have huge scores where your situation drastically changes. So it doesn't really feel like that. Tournaments are where people just randomly stumble into millions of dollars because the biggest one's the World Series of Poker main event. Every year somebody wins that thing for $8 to $10 million. Obviously they're going to own some taxes and stuff, but basically they go from being a smaller stakes poker player or maybe even a recreational poker player to having all of a sudden millions of dollars for poker. And people make really epically terrible decisions when they do that. And a lot of times
mixed results. Yeah. There's a lot of guys that like Joe Hashem. I don't know. I love watching Joe Hashem play because he's awful. He's awful at it. He
this is a World Series of Poker winner that's bad at poker.
Did he win the main or second place?
He won the main.
I can't remember what he won. It was a lot.
You can't be that bad if he won, right?
That is extremely wrong.
Okay.
Think about it like this. If we played heads up and your strategy was, I'm going to go all in, Taylor, you just went all in every hand, and we played a reasonable format, I would only beat you 60% of the time or so. 62. Okay. It depends on the format. So even though you would have no strategy, just I'm all in again, and you're just doing that, I could only beat you not even 2 out of 3 times. Huh. So if we played and you did that, you could play one game, beat me, sit out and say, see, knew I was better than Doug. And then it's not that hard to do that. It's actually pretty easy. And then
that makes sense.
In these tournaments, usually what happens is people start to get really lucky for extended periods of time, because when you have a tournament that has 7,000 people, if you're going to make it far in that, you have to get really lucky, because if you don't, you're just going to lose your chips to someone that is, basically. Mm-hmm. And of course there's skill, right? And the people that are good, when it's close or they get maybe average luck, they might go a lot further because they're able to do better with those same hands than a bad player would. But to really win a huge tournament, you have to get so fucking lucky that a lot of times the guy that wins it is just not even very good at poker. Straight up.
It happens a lot. And then they've got like a ton of money, and they get to diversify that back out to the good poker players in cash games. So it's really fun to see, because every year it happens.
I actually think it's really good, by the way. I don't think it sucks. I think it's really good, because think about something like chess. There are no super high stakes chess matches because there's a rating system, and the player with the better rating will beat you, right? On average.
Yeah.
So no one gambles. Why gamble when this guy is just going to clobber you? You don't gamble. But if anyone can beat anyone kind of a lot, it's a pretty good gambling game. And so the fact that sometimes bad players win a lot of money is actually really good for the game and its longevity.
Speaking of bad players, if you Google search like best fold of all time, your hand with Helmuth comes up a lot. Where I think there was like $3,000 in the pot. You flop a straight. It's but you have like 7-10, so like the board's like 8-9 jack or something. Helmuth has the nuts. He's got 10 queen, and you raise it. You might make it 7,000 or something like that.
Does has the nuts mean he can't lose?
At that point, he has the best hand possible. There are 2 more cards to come, so that can be changed. But And this scenario, because of Doug's holding, Doug has a 0% chance. It doesn't matter what the next two cards are. He's lost. But from his point of view, I just flopped a straight. I should be good here. So he makes it 7,000 to go. And Helmuth goes and makes it 97,000. And Doug's just like, why would you do that? What does Helmuth do that with? And he's just like, you must have been, well, you got Queen 10. All right, I fold. And it's just like, could Helmuth have thrown money away more effectively? I don't think so. It was just such a bad play from his part. And I like Phil. He's killing it in that high stakes poker duel right now. How many has he won? 7 in a row?
It's been a long stretch. That hand, I think, is my most famous hand at this point. I have to think about it, but probably is. And basically, I check raised the second nut, so the second best possible hand you can have, and faced a re-raise and folded. And I think the reason that people think that it's such an amazing fold is because when you have 10-7 on Jack 9-8, you only lose to Queen 10. You don't lose to 3 of a kind. You don't lose to 2 pair. You don't lose to bluffs. You don't lose to whatever. You only lose to Queen 10. So it was an interesting situation. You have to know your opponent a little bit too. Phil is not a guy that just punts off 100K. I mean, when he went all in, it was around 100K, I think.
Yeah. He's
not going to just go all in for $100,000 with just random bluffy hands.
He doesn't do that.
He doesn't really play like that. And so I actually got a little bit of a read on him too. I asked him I said, Phil, what do you got over there or something like that? And then he was coming up with things that he was trying to basically come up with things that he could have that would make me want to call. I'm thinking, why are you trying to convince me to call? I could have the bluff. I could have that bluff. I could have this bluff. If you're bluffing, this is a very classic thing with human emotion. Humans love to act weak when they're strong and act strong when they're weak. So when you see someone flaunting their money online, they're posting about this money, this thing, I got this thing, look at these hot babes, look at this. Usually it's because they either don't have it or they're trying to look strong when they're weak. And then vice versa. A lot of times when people try to look weak, they're actually really strong. They don't want you to know how strong they are. So when people have good hands, typically they're trying to act weak in different ways, right? Oh, I'm weak. I could have these bluffs. I'm weak. But the reality is you have the nuts. Whereas if he's bluffing, he's not going to sit there. Let's say he's bluffing me. He's not going to say, I could be bluffing here. I could have a bluff. I could have this bluff. I could have that. No, do you realize how scary that is?
He's going to do that thing he does. That's this. He's going to do this.
Yeah, he's going to do that.
Well, that's a terrible tell.
That's what he does. Like
he always does
of the time.
No one's ever explained to me why fake tells are a bad idea. I just feel like you should be throwing out tells all the time, right? Like unreadable through your massive nonsense. No one does it. Everyone goes for stoic instead of stupid.
Well, the thing you have to think about is balance, right? If you're not balanced with the tells that you have, then people can know it means something. And when you play on TV games, I don't know how many hours of TV games I've played. Let's just say I've played 25, 50, 100. I have no idea. Well, let's say you pulled up 100 hours of Doug footage and you watched every fake tell and every tell I did over the entire time. They could say, okay, well, when he does the lean to the left on the left hand, 6 bluffs, 2 value bets, very weak. When it does to the right hand, he mainly had good hands. They could look at when you tilt your head. What does that mean? When he like burrows, what's it called?
And I guess
eyebrows. Yeah,
furrow your brow. Yeah, and I guess you can't do that. Let's put 6 furrow brows out, meaning you have a good hand in a row, and then cash in on it with the 7th fake one.
But the thing is, you're trying to think about how to play while you're doing this. I'm trying to think about what should I do with my hand and what makes sense. And there's so much deep strategy stuff. I can't be wasting time thinking about I need to lean to the left this time. I need to be thinking about to be thinking about how can I play this hand correctly, because poker is super fucking complicated. And any time spent not trying to essentially figure out the solution to your situation you're in is time kind of lost. Now with bad players, you can do all this shit, you guys ever seen Rounders where KGB has the Oreo? Yeah. So with bad players, you can do stuff like that because if you can make them think it means something or whatever, then you can get an advantage there. But then if they know that then they might know that it's actually the opposite. But then if they know, and then you get into this leveling game. And rather than going into the leveling game, here's my take on poker. I'm going to play so good that you're going to lose on average just over the long run. I'm going to win. So why fuck with that? Why do stuff where I might not win? I'm just going to win. Like, I'm really good at poker. I'm going to win. So why do things where I might not win when you can just win? And so
Doug is proving that my revolutionary poker strategy is parallel to those people that say put a sumo wrestler in goal and they'll block all the pucks. It's actually an incredibly stupid idea. Yeah. Sumo wrestlers are terrible.
It's the athletic goalie who's able to actually be. No, you don't want the blob in there.
It would be fun to watch, though.
Yeah,
it would be fun to watch.
Yeah, you imagine that like be taking up the whole net, and then they'd just be like picking corners. Like, oh wait, they're professional hockey players.
You know, in hockey, they used to not have regulations on pad size. You know this?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Taylor's a huge hockey fan and player.
Okay, cool. So see the old pictures where they're just it's something.
And they still find ways to cheat. The goalie of the Tampa Bay Lightning, they basically made it so that your shoulders can't be super tall, because like he was rocking shoulder pads that were like up to his ears.
Garth
at one
Snow
point.
used to have I-beams.
Garth Snow, that was before the rules. It was absurd what Garth Snow was doing. But like Vasilevsky, currently the best goalie in the NHL, they told him you can't have these fucking ridiculous, like that Kanye West video with the giant suit that comes up to your ears. And so what he did is he wears a gear that's like 3 sizes too big, and he tucks it into the front of his pants. And so when he's standing there, it looks totally normal. And then when he goes in the butterfly position on the knees, it gets caught on his pants and pushes it up to his ears. And so like
they're like a scarecrow.
They're trying to figure out a new thing there. And it's like, dude, you're already the best goalie in the world right now. Just get quicker on the ear area, I guess. But
can you share that picture real quick while he's talking?
On the poker thing, I'm curious. Like you said, like against normal people, you're just going to be like, I'm good. I'm going to forge ahead. I'm going to play my game, play my strategy. Like, did you ever have to like kind of sit down and practice tells? Like when you got into it, like were there things that you noticed like, fuck, I really am making this obvious for people, that you had to reevaluate your strategy, or never really?
So there's 2 kinds of poker players, right? There's guys that come from an online background. There's guys that come from a live background. Online, there are no tells, thankfully. And so that's my background. So
maybe
timing for sure. But in terms of just tells, right? Just how you look and timing tells. There can be. Those are easy to balance, though. You just always act at the same time. Exactly. Mm-hmm. But when you come from the online background, online guys are notoriously terrible when they get to a real table, because they've been behind their computer for how many years, and now they have to interact with humans and chips and cards and chairs and a table.
Carlos pulls his hair out every time he's bluffing because he's so stressed out. Like he's been doing it for years, just freaking the fuck out. Like, come on.
There are guys that have it, maybe not that bad, but problems that they're used to doing. And so I think for a lot of online guys, it's kind of uncomfortable. I remember when I started playing live, it's actually kind of funny because when I first played live, I was a kid and I was playing for $100 or whatever. And then I went years of not, basically. And then by the time I was playing live again, I was playing really high stakes stuff. So, 10K tournaments, 100K tournaments. I played $1 million tournament, all kinds of stuff, right? And so I didn't get to play much in the middle there. I mainly went from playing small stakes live to playing the higher stakes stuff. And for me, I just got into a good rhythm where I would just think, okay, I know I'm going to beat these people, so I just need to make sure I don't give out tells. I don't need to be worried about what they're doing. Fuck them. I'm going to beat them, so I don't care what they're doing. I'm going to focus on, and what I do is I found when I'm in a big situation, and there's videos of me doing this online for sure. Basically, when I'm in a big situation, I'll stare at a card on the board, usually the middle card, and I'll just stare at it. And let's say I'm running a huge bluff and I'm just locked in. And then they're like asking me questions, or they're looking at me, or they're staring me down, or they're next to me. And I'm just thinking, that's a really nice looking ace of spades. And I'm just, and I just zone out. I'm not even involved in the hand anymore. I'm just looking at that ace of spades. And I almost even forget what I have sometimes, because I'm just in this zone where I'm just not even. And I do that when I have a good hand or a bad hand, because I don't want there to be any difference in the way that it looks. So you never know what I have, because I'm just doing the exact same thing, basically.
Have you ever seen the hand where Tom Dwan is running like, I don't know, $150,000 bluff into like, I don't know, maybe a $400,000 pot or something like that?
Versus Phil Ivey, I think, right?
Yeah.
That one?
And he's just, when Phil finally folds, he's just like, oh, my eyes. And I think, I don't know who it was. Maybe Elliot Lazar was like, what's wrong with your eyes? And he's just like, the light was bouncing off that card. I was just staring at that one card. I think the light was coming off it just right. I don't know. He's been staring at that card, trying not to flinch while what most people consider to be the greatest poker player of all time, stares him down with like almost $500,000 in the pot or something like that. He's just.
I've gotten the Phil Ivey stare down as well.
It's terrifying.
Phil Ivey stare down. I want to see.
I'm intimidated and I'm at home.
It's classic.
That just yeah. I love watching. Poker online. I watch a ton of like poker content on YouTube. There's been like an influx of a couple of YouTube channels seems to have bought like a bunch of the old content and they're just and they're rolling it out. So that's fun to watch.
There's some drama with that stuff too, a little bit.
I bet.
Phil Ivey stare like it looks like he's disappointed in you. A little bit. Yeah. I like that.
Wait, is that hold on, is that oh no. That background looks familiar to a hand I played versus him.
Is that Phil Ivey?
Yeah.
Yes.
Staring at someone.
Phil Ivey. Yeah,
it's actually a better stare than you thought. As you guys were telling the story, I'm dumbassingly think I wouldn't be concerned, but no, that's a pretty good stare.
Sometimes he gives that look a lot. That look with the mouth open. That thing.
That's kind of like a what are you stupid kind of.
Yeah, right. He'd make me second guess myself. This guy's got good emotes.
You're like, Phil, what should I do? You're a professional poker player. Here's my cards.
You look like you've been here before.
Is there anybody who's known for like being super gregarious? They're always talking. They're always like as a tactic trying to disrupt other people's mojo. Or
Phil chats a lot.
There used to be guys that would do that a little more often, but it's just so annoying.
Would that be good for them though to annoy you? And
it'd be good for them.
There's a few problems, but
wouldn't it be good to get on TV? I guess it's not as big a thing as it was 10 years ago or whatever. But like if ESPN would definitely pick up a guy who was a level worse at poker but better at talking.
Basically, I think that people that came along in poker in the last 10 years have really gotten screwed because Black Friday happened, which is essentially the U.S. government enforced that you can't serve U.S. customers in online poker. And basically all of the companies had to withdraw from the market. And so the big personalities in the US that have followings, like myself and like a bunch of other people in the US, didn't really end up having great ways to capitalize on it like they did before, where they could represent those companies. What I did was start a training site, which was good. My training site, upswingpoker.com.
What is it again?
Great.
Say it slower.
Upswingpoker.com.
Thanks.
It's a great place to learn poker. I'd recommend checking it out. Anyway, so I made a training site, and we're actually the biggest training site, at least to my knowledge. I haven't checked the data lately, but we're a great place to learn poker. It's a course format. People really enjoy it. Our members are actually, I just uploaded a lesson that I did. I had a recent challenge versus Daniel Negreanu. I'm not sure if you guys heard about this, but basically I played a big heads up challenge, and I just did some videos going through and talking about my strategies and some hands I played and all that kind of stuff.
Can I just say, I really like that you guys were like chill with each other, like when you actually played. I think a lot of people wanted to see you guys like bicker and go back and forth, but because there'd been so much animosity leading up to it. But it was really refreshing and cool to see you guys just be professional with one another and joke around even a little bit and have a little bit of fun and play that thing out. I watched all the hands that were live. I didn't go too much to the online stuff.
There's a lot of hands. Yeah, a lot of people were upset though. I wanted blood. I wanted more. It's kind of weird when you're in a room with someone and it's just you and them and a dealer. And obviously there's a lot of people watching online, but when you're just going to shit talk and then just get dealt the next hand, it's just kind of weird. It's a weird atmosphere.
Canuck. Like, what are you gonna say?
Yeah, and I'm not. You just can't really do that. And then also there was a bit of he decided to play me in my game, the game I was really good at. So I just kind of had to show up and win. You know, I mean, if I had lost that, it would have been a real hit on my career. I would be a real blemish to have lost to someone that you were supposed to beat in a game that you're supposed to be one of the best at, and I was the best at in the world for a few years there. To have lost to him in that format would have been devastating. So I kind of felt a lot of pressure too, and I also had side bets and money on the line. I mean, it was. You know, there was a lot of pressure.
There wasn't enough money at stake already. You play side bets. Now, here's the question: did you buy any insurance?
Why did I buy insurance?
Okay.
Let me tell you this, Kyle. The reason that companies offer you insurance is because they're giving you back less money than you're giving them. That's their business. You give them money, they give you back less money.
Yeah.
Don't buy insurance. If you have to,
a little bit, right?
Don't buy insurance unless you absolutely have to.
I didn't know you could.
I haven't had car insurance for years.
Oh, I don't even think that there's insurance in poker really, but I just mean in general. I'm in life.
That's how I feel about warranties. You know, like,
Yeah,
hey, you
it's insurance.
buy your new whatever DVD player. Would you like to pay $50 and we'll replace it free if something goes wrong? You wouldn't do it if it was a good deal.
Yeah,
exactly. It's
they
exactly
don't have
true.
much confidence in their DVD.
But sometimes the situation is that the algorithm works out such that you want, even if it breaks, you probably won't bring it back to us. We're counting on the fact that you want, because when I sold cars, like that's what that permaplate nonsense was. We didn't put permaplate on cars, but permaplate came with a warranty that said, if you find a way to stain the interior of your vehicle, we will get the stain out. If we cannot, we will reupholster. If we can't, we'll get you a new factory seat. So we're on the hook for potentially thousands of dollars if your kid like gets the lipstick out and just goes to drawing on the roof of your car, or like someone just actually spills a bucket of paint in your front seat of a truck. You know, like you've seen, maybe there'll be buckets of paint in the back. You'll get into a collision. The paint all slides forward. It paints the interior of the car. We would have been on the hook for an entire interior of a vehicle if you had paid that $600 up front. It's a hell of a warranty if you've got messy kids or anything, but no one in the years that I sold cars ever came back and said, hey, managed to stain the car. Remember that permaplate thing I bought? Never happened once, but so many people would plunk down $600.